Hey everybody, how's it going? Good to see you today. Thank you for tuning in. Live from Ellensburg, Washington, USA. The local time is 12:48, I think. And in less than 15 minutes from now, we will begin Challis Magmas Part 4 at 1 p.m. local time, Pacific time. But I know that it's approaching the top of many different hours, depending on where you are in the world. Folks in Europe and Africa, we're approaching what, midnight or 11 o'clock or something like that. And Aussie folks are just getting up, or even before that, pre-dawn, and everything in between. So glad that you're with us today. Let's say hi to a few folks, make sure that we're doing okay for this last session. Eric's in Marion, Virginia, and Gillian in Pasco, Washington. Philomath, Oregon. Susan, hello. Don's in Los Angeles. Michael's in Indianapolis. Kankakee, Illinois. United Kingdom. Boxborough, Massachusetts. 9 Mile Falls in Washington. Auckland, New Zealand. East Falls, Philadelphia. Wallace Falls State Park in Gold Bar, Washington. There's Saber. On the road again. Patrick, age 7. Hello, Patrick. You are loyal, Patrick. Wallasey, UK. Newport, Oregon. Edinburgh, Scotland. Foothills, California. Madison, Wisconsin. Edmonds, Washington. Yeah, there's 3 new ones, Bryce. And my address. Rockland, California. Union City, California. San Diego. Bergen, Norway. Maryland. Camino Island. Crescent City, California. Tillamook, Oregon. Paris, Illinois. Darrington, Backcountry Gary with us again. Hi, Gary. Boulder Creek, California. Missouri City, Texas. Sweden. Souk, British Columbia. Oak. New Yorkshire, UK. Just soaking this in. Last live stream for a while, so just soaking this in. Cheyenne, Wyoming. Pat Miller in Yakima. Hey, Pat, hope you're doing well. Jennifer's in Boise. Hey, Jennifer, hope you're doing well. Rheinfelden, Switzerland. Hotel Papa 100. What's up, homie? Bunch of the old crew is here, and we got some new folks as well. Burns Lake, British Columbia. Reno, Nevada. Blind River, Canada. Susanna, hello. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Vienna, Austria. Anchorage, Alaska. What do all these places have in common? I guess an interest in geology. Jurassic Coast, Dorset, UK. Dan's been with us regularly. Dan, Spot on the Tube, Knoxville, Tennessee. Okay, Julian. Einthenberg, Germany. Hello. Leslie, you're in South Africa? I've really been enjoying getting to know your country, courtesy of Nora Lee and Itchy Boots. She's just about to cross the border and leave your country, but she's been there 3 months. It's been a real treat to get to know your country. Shout out to Nora Lee. itchyboots.com. Hey, we got cousins in the house, Bob and Sherry from New Glarus. Hey, you guys. I'll see you at the reunion, end of July. Tim and Squim. Stefano from Milan, Italy. Stefan from the Netherlands. Cindy, Eric. Okay. So we've got Matthew ready to go, Bryce ready to go, Ariel and Ashley. And that's it so far. Bryce is in Tasmania. Athens, Greece. Special shout out to you. Wish I could read Greek. I think. All right. You guys hungry? That's a question. Did you hear the inflection at the end, Bryce? Are you hungry? So last time that I'm going to share this with you, the gentleman in Colorado, this is 2 weeks ago, I can't remember your name, but the temptation now, the anticipation is there. We're going to enjoy this together in my backyard this afternoon. You'll hear me try to coordinate that with the students. Hello, Ree. And this episode of Nick from the Classroom brought to you by Vindman's Bakery. So the owner, once again, Jeff from Vindman's Bakery, listening live right now. Probably he's walked back to the bakery a few blocks away. So this is part 2 of the very generous gift from Peter in Brisbane, Australia. So Peter, thank you so much for feeding our students here. They are ready to roll. They all have their drinks. Emma's not here to get us napkins, but somebody will get us a bunch of napkins from the back of the room. That's Hayden's going to do that. That's good. So we've got 24-ish, or no, we got 30 Danishes total. Pain au chocolat, bear claw, and prosciutto and cheese. Prosciutto and cheese. Tim's cultured. He corrected me there. So let me show you what these look like. So Peter, come on now. Peter. Thanks, Peter. Thanks, Peter. I'm hearing it. Fill the air. Oh. Audible gasps and cackles. Audible. All right. Thank you, Hayden. Wait, the Holy Trinity sits here, right? We'll go here. Okay, so here's half of it. Where's Emma? I'm starting to get worried. Here's the other half. Oh, Kyle's diving head first. Bear claws and more of the prosciuttos. Ben and other staff members, you're going to have to wait, but I'm sure we're going to have extra. Peter from Brisbane, Aussie. Thank you. Bear claws coming in hot. Literally.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They're just like kind of like a croissant.
You're threatened by the Danishes? Come on now, Kyle.
No, I want to know what's in there.
I want a chocolate.
Just cheese.
And bacon.
And bacon?
There's bacon in there.
And you're going to have to figure that one out on your own. Not a good sign if a box full of Danishes make you nervous. Bryce, are you going to threaten me now? Bryce.
These are the story, the amazing rocks that we found.
Yeah. You found these yesterday.
No, the drunk Russian story.
The what story?
The drunk Russian story. Emma and I are talking about those are the rocks. The amazing blues. That
Oh, the drunk Russian. Oh, God.
That's it.
Oh,
Those are the amazing.
Apparently, I called a student a drunk Russian. That's before I was live streaming. Even I winced at that one. Okay. Oh, the Holy Trinity's here. Emma's here, thank God. We got a chocolate, I think. I haven't earmarked it for you. Rylin is ready to roll. We got a few minutes left. We'll say hi to a few. I don't need to visit with these folks. Do I have scissors? No. You gotta love it, Daryl. Hello, Adrian, Thomas, Oscar, Therese, Mr. Miner, Kay, Letha Lee, Greg, Crown House, Cole Grimer, Janet, former student, William O. Smith, not to be confused with William B. Smith, not to be confused with William R. Smith. Erliana, those guys are inseparable, Erliana and Alexis. Can't remember their names because they rarely speak. Ray. All right. Megan just said, seriously, there's meat and cheese in that thing? It's a meal wrapped in a riddle. It's an enigma. Erliana's skipping through the back of the room. That's a good sign. Ryan was not with us yesterday on our field trip. I'm sure there's a story there. He's been pretty regular. We had a great time out in the field yesterday with Jeff Tepper. Kyle, what do you have to say? I guess you'll have to listen to the lecture. I guess he survived. He disappeared. So we're about to begin. I'll do my usual. We'll do some live Q&A, and then since this is our last class and our last live stream for quite some time, I'll make sure to, before we sign off, I'll make sure to give you a general sense of what I have in mind this summer and beyond, in case you're interested.
I thought this was like central, and I was like, what?
My taste buds are
Good afternoon, young people. The instructor has begun. I'm so glad that you are with us. I'm so glad that you are settled. You have your Danish. You have your 3 new handouts for today. Do you not? If you don't, please get up and take care of matters. But we want to get at this. This is our last lecture, and I have big plans for our session today, involving you as well. So we'll see if we can't get there sooner than later. I do, as usual, have a couple of announcements. So can we multitask as we continue to get ourselves settled? First message, I want to drink this wine with you. I want to drink this wine with you. You know this. We've mentioned this a number of times. I've been saving this bottle until we're done with the class. And within an hour, we're going to be done with the class. So we're going to open this in my backyard this afternoon. Now, I thought that I was just going to have everybody come over. So my address is in the back if you don't know where I live. And so check that out before you leave. Make sure you know how to get to my place. I'm obviously not requiring you to do this. And some of you are not legally old enough to drink wine in an old man's backyard and with a cat. Come over to my house and we'll drink wine together. So you are not required, and I'm not making you feel uncomfortable, correct? We've been out every week. Hell, we were out yesterday having a grand old time way up above Wenatchee on Birch Mountain. So this is just another field trip. We're just going a few blocks away, that's all. So I thought that I would just say, I'm going to finish with the live audience, and I'll see you immediately after class over in my backyard. But did I see a post from you, Ashley, that you're going to have a club meeting at 3 o'clock? So how long you guys can be at that?
Try and finish it in like an hour. Do you think? You still have to just react.
Give me a time that was convenient for you guys to finish. 4:15? 4:30? It's like right over here. You can drive or walk or bike or whatever. 4:30? Is that okay? That's what we're doing. I'll see you at my house in my backyard. Bring a camp chair or two, or just sit in my grass or whatever. Play with Bijou the cat, and we'll drink this wine together. Okay? I've got some. You can bring other things, sure. I got some otter pops for the kiddies, so come on over. We'll have a little kiddie table. Okay? 4:30, my backyard. Address is in the back. We good there? The other announcement, and then we'll get rolling. You see the whiteboard? Bryce has been in my ear. So we've got two options for taking the final exam. I screwed up on the Google Calendar. It's my fault, but Bryce got me going on it. So you have two options for when to take the final exam for this class. That's the only thing we have left, correct? Just the final exam. So I'm either going to see you in this room this coming Monday at 2 p.m. I know nobody has final exams on Monday. It's a dead day. It's a study day. But if you want to take it and get out of here earlier than later, I'll see you here Monday at 2 p.m. If not, I'll see you at our scheduled time, which is officially correct for the campus schedule for final exams, which is Thursday, also 2 p.m., not 1 p.m., but 2 p.m. in this room. We good? Now, I got to give you a little bit more about the final exam, because as I was coming down off of Birch Mountain with Bryce is like, what's going to be on the final? And I said, I don't know. We'll just like before. We'll just, you'll be the papers you're responsible, and I'll write some questions. Well, there's only been 2 asterisk papers, is that a verb? There's only 2 papers that have a star since our midterm. Mike Eddy's 2017 paper on triple junction migration and Aaron Donaghy's 2021 chumpstick paper. That's it. Everything else has been optional. So Bryce, you can blame it on Bryce. Bryce said, you mean you're just not going to have any questions on Challis? Like we've done 4 lectures on Challis. You're not going to do anything? Well, you didn't require papers. Like, good idea, Bryce. So in addition to the 2 starred papers that you will prepare similar to the style of the midterm that we had. Remember, you were just asking you to talk directly about those papers. In addition to that, I'll have a couple of long form questions on the Challis. And I don't really know what else to say. Like, it's not coming from a specific paper. I've tried to build a narrative for you. I haven't had a whole lot of back and forth, although I want to do that a little bit today. But I don't know what else to say. I'll come up with a couple of what I consider fair questions if you've been following along with these last 4 Challis Magma lectures, but they're not coming from a specific paper. The rest of the final exam will simply come from those 2 papers, Eddy and Donaghy. We good? I don't know what else to say, and I obviously haven't written the exam yet, but I'll come up with that over the weekend. We good? Okay, I think I want to get rolling here because we got good stuff to finish the course on. So let's look carefully at this syllabus. No, this schedule of this outline, and then, not a good sign. I can't even come up with the word outline. Okay, come on, boy, come on, boy, come on, boy. Let's start with what we finished with last time. We focused on the age sweep from Jeff Tepper, and we kind of dropped a bomb right at the last of Tuesday's lecture. You recall it. You've got the multicolored handout from last time, probably. The slab curtain from Gene Humphreys, University of Oregon. And this mysterious slab curtain put a wrench in some of our ideas, especially a widening slab window, but I'll get into that in just a second. The rest of this is new. This is Jeff Tepper helping us see that there are 2, these are my words now, a curious belt within the Challis Magmas. So far, our Challis Magmas have been this wide-reaching series of blobs that are boiling up, right? And we have no specific parts within the Challis Magma area that we care about. Well, we care now. And I want to focus on, some of you are not with us. Come on, let's go. I know, we're almost done. Come on, let's go. You ready? Thank you. Montana, there's something called the Central Montana Alkali Belt. Yes, that's from Rob Thomas, who wrote a new roadside geology book of Montana. I don't know anything about it, but there are a series of Eocene magmas in Montana, the Central Montana Alkali Province. Did I say province before? In central Montana and even further east, Jeff kind of thinks maybe, but he doesn't know anything about Rocky Mountain Eocene magmas, and I don't either. But this is part of our model that we're about to get into. So older than 52, there's some curious magmas that are kind of clustered for our purposes. Let's just say Montana, this Central Montana Alkali Province. And then this one, which is the centerpiece of today's model, is here in central Washington, a portion of the Challis Magmas that run from 51 to 48. And yes, you've got a handout that looks, why not? Let's do it now. Wasn't planning on it. Let's do it now. This one. You got it, right? So we know the Challis Magmas regionally go from 52 to 44. You can all see this? I don't have to show you on the document camera, do I? Okay, I will. I'm feeling frisky. So look at the trend of this second curious belt. 51 to 48. You're confused. I see it on your eye. You see it in your face. Change that to 51. Jeff now wants to include the Silver Pass Volcanics, which you might recall. The Silver Pass Volcanics is within the SWOC that was our boundary between upper and lower SWOC, right up there at Blewett Pass, right over there by Lake Cochise. That's becoming a newly interesting set of lavas. And so Jeff is now pushing this back to 51. But the point is, in red here, and you've got some names in front of you, Basalt of Summit Creek, that's one of the papers I have on the 351 page. Not required, but that's down by White Pass. Basalt of Frost Mountain, Teanaway Basalt, heard of it. Natchez Formation up by Snoqualmie Pass, and then crossing over into Western Washington. There you go, Pilchuck, etc. So this is not on trend with the Cascades. It kind of is slightly off the trend of the Cascades. And of course, too old. What? And of course, too old. These are magmas that are older than 44. So right off the bat, let me slow down and say, we have some Challis magmas in the Cascade neighborhood that are not part of the Challis volcanic arc for two reasons. One, they're too old. They're older than 44. And two, they're not totally on trend. I mean, you can kind of say it's a northwest, southeast, not quite, but it's not right perfectly in line with the rest of the Cascade magmas. Jeff Tepper, again, we're talking about nothing but Jeff today. You met him yesterday. You hiked with him yesterday. Jeff makes a big deal about this curious belt paralleling the accretion of Silesia. Is there some kind of weird connection between this parallel belt with this parallel margin of the accreted Silesia material? Okay, we're coming back to that, but that's a big part of our lecture today. So this is essentially more field data that I'm sharing with you. And then finally, I can't run out of time. We're not going to meet again. I'm not going to run out of time, but we are going to get to this breakoff and rollback model that I've been teasing for like a week and a half. And then if we do have time, we'll get right back to the Mike Eddy versus Jeff Tepper. It's not really like that, but whatever. The migrating triple junction. Are we going south or are we going north? That's the plan today. Let's do it. So I think I've already kind of set the tone that the energy is great. Drink, bingo. Shoes are off. Drink, bingo. I realized Ryan was asking questions last time just so I would say, not now, Ryan. Bryce filled me in. You guys are playing bingo while you're, okay. So this is simple. Are we on the same page from last time? This is an age progression of the Challis Magmas in Washington, courtesy of Jeff Tepper. We decided last time the Yellowstone mantle plume has nothing to do with this, correct? For two reasons. The age progression's wrong, and the Yellowstone mantle plume's too far to the south. What else did we decide was not? What other tectonic model last time were we toying with that did not work with this age progression? Ariel. A simple, I want to emphasize that, a simple model of a subducting spreading ridge creating an enlarging slab window. The further under the continent you subduct those two plates and the spreading ridge. And you're like, huh? Well, I didn't erase it. Not a penis. Just trying to get everybody on the same page if possible before we do our Tepper rollback dance. Here's our spreading ridge. Here's the oblique subduction of Kula Plate to the north and Farallon Plate to the south. Forget about resurrection. We emphasized with this diagram that as you subduct a spreading ridge, which is a gap, which is where we're actually going to get hot mantle to surge closer to the surface. That's what we need, right? Our Challis magmas are hot, dry, and deep, meaning we're making those melts in the lower crust. This is all the last couple of sessions. We really liked, for a while, a simple subduction of a slab window, and then the window gets wider and wider, and therefore we can get our Challis magma blobs coming up wider and wider as we go inland. And the point is, we ended up last time not totally loving it. Why? What are two reasons from last time? I'm about done recapping. Two reasons that we didn't like a simple subducting spreading ridge story, Megan. We got the ages again, northeast to southwest. We're having a hell of a time explaining that age progression of the Challis magmas with this simple spreading and slab window story. I'm still confused what age progression we really should have with this simple spreading ridge subduction, but as Jeff was emphasizing by Zoom, which I'll post later on, remember this whole thing. We should have some sort of north, young in the middle, getting older, north and south, or something else, but very difficult to take a simple slab window and tie it to that age progression. That's really what we want to explain. Why do we have 52 to 44 going northeast to southwest? The other, anybody got the other one? What's the other, right at the end, what's the other nail in the coffin of a simple spreading ridge model? Ryan. What is this? Oh my God, thank you. That was exhausting. I thought you were right with me there, Ryan. I guess you weren't. This is what we finished with. What am I trying to help you see? Once again, how can you have a widening slab window, a widening place where we have hot mantle surging to the surface, if we made this discovery 10 years ago of what? This is the very last moment. I don't know, maybe you were mentally checked out before we did this. We've got this slab curtain going down to what? 600 kilometers depth. Let me add some new stuff. Megan, I'll get to you in a second. This image doesn't look like it exactly, but Jeff Tepper, a couple of different times, has emphasized to me there's a distinct top and bottom to this Idaho slab curtain. I know it kind of looks like it continues to the surface, but that muddies the water for our narrative at least. So just play with me, please. There's a distinct top and a distinct bottom. This thing is vertical. It's part of an old ocean plate, and it's not connected to anything. I'll say it one more time, and then I think you'll see why I want to really emphasize that in just a sec. This thing is its own slab curtain, no connection to anything. It's just hanging there, and yes, it's sinking. It's sinking into the mantle at whatever Karin Siglock's rates were. We're not deep enough to do the ribbon candy thing, but this is definitely part of, it's why we're going to get into this rollback right now and why we are really getting away from our simple slab window story.
So my question is, isn't that in the same place that the volcanic arc for Idaho is?
It is. Megan says, isn't this roughly in the same place as the old Idaho volcanic arc? Sure, we're about to do the rollback model. We're going to start with the Idaho arc. And yeah, it might be helpful to think of that possible connection. Never thought of coming at it from that angle. Thank you. Let's put that on hold. It might work for you. Hayden.
So there's that little on the diagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's in about the same spot as where these volcanics are. And it would, if the age from the volcanic, the Idaho part being the older part and the current part being the younger part, the age progression is also correct.
I love your spunk right now. I love your spunk. I'm going to shut you down, though. I want to be disciplined with what we know and work with Tepper's. Is that on bingo card, by the way? Spunk? Kind of? That was new? I'm going to detour you now, Hayden. If you want to talk afterwards and you want to lock into your idea, great. But of course, I don't want to run out of time. And I want to keep you going. You want to talk here. And that's great. So I got to steer our talk a little bit. So I'm steering Hayden away from that. Okay. Let's do it. Been waiting for 2 weeks. Let's do the frickin' thing. Is it going to be a disappointment now? Maybe. I want to do it 2 different ways. You have some handouts. You maybe don't know what to do with them, or maybe you've already peeked online. You've got it all figured out. I don't know. He doesn't know. Third person Thursday. But I want to try it in my own little style here first. Try what? I want to talk about Jeff Tepper's model. This is it. The break-off and rollback model. And I think I want to do it. I haven't even tried it, to be honest. But I think I just had an idea about pedaling in here. I had this idea. So I just want to do it. I've got a semi-damp, yes, a little too damp. I'm a professional. Don't second guess me now. Okay. Here's the model. It aims to explain all of this data, including the 2 curious belts that I introduced to you today. We start our story 60 million years ago. I got to say one more thing. It's a model. Is this the answer? Has he figured it all out and there's no more work to be done? Of course not. You know how this works. We could have talked about this 20 years ago and there was a model and it felt like that was the answer. And of course now we got new data and so the model keeps changing. So Jeff himself is not saying I've got it all figured out, but this is his attempt to explain all of his data as well as a few other things as well. We start 60 million years ago. You know all the important dates by now. Jeff wants the Kula plate subducting. That's the first message, not the Farallon. So let's get it straight. Jeff, not even go there right now. He wants the Kula plate subducting. And we're subducting 60 million years ago. That's going back quite a ways. That's older than 52 last time I checked. So we don't have any Challis Magmas yet, but we do have our Idaho Arc. This is going to go fast, but we're going to try 2 more times with the professional handouts from Jeff. We don't have Silesia yet. When does Silesia begin? 56 million years ago. So, should have practiced this probably. This one's too wet. So now we're going to go 56. And we're going to magically match this large igneous province out in the water. Don't ask me. I don't know why. Yellowstone mantle plume, we know that. We looked at the evidence for that early in the class, but was it a triple junction? Was it I don't know. But we have it. 56 million years ago, we start making this thing. And it is still erupting to 48 million years ago, if you recall. But that's not important either right now. What is important is that as we get to, I don't know, let's pick another number. I'm just going to keep changing numbers. I don't know how you're going to take notes on this. I don't know, maybe just sit back and try to follow what I'm trying to say. It's up to you. Let's pick 54. Now Silesia is a little closer to our margin. Remember our trench is here. I emphasized this last time that we have an average of 150 miles between the trench and the arc. So the trench is at Walla Walla. Now 54 is greater than 52. So we're going to start some of our central Montana alkali province magmas. A little bit older than 52. Why? Well, Montana is a little bit east of Idaho. I've never done this. Let me just try to make, shit, is this going to work? Play with me here. Instead of one big stratovolcano indicating a volcanic arc related to subduction, let's have a bunch of cute little guys. Remember the BADR, all sorts of different kinds of lavas being created, all sorts of different plutons being created down below. And we're approaching 52, but Jeff wants his first breakoff. There, I said it. Jeff wants his first breakoff of this Kula plate a little bit older than 52. I don't know. This was going to drive Emma nuts. She wants to write everything down just perfectly, and I'm changing, and I'm crossing out, and I'm going back. I'm sorry. Emma, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. My point is here, first major point of Tepper's model, to explain the first of the two curious belts that was on the outline. Where? In Montana. That are older than 52. So this is a challenge for you to just kind of keep going back and forth between your outline of today and where we are in the story. But this is the initiation of our Challis story, and here it is. We're going to break this thing. Matthew, we're not breaking it 30 to 20. We're not breaking it 20 to 17. We're way older than that. We introduced the concept in the Miocene early in the class, but this is much older. And he wants to break this Kula. Why does he want to do that? This is you. Why does Jeff want to break the Kula plate? What's the benefit of doing that, Tim? You're damn right. Remember, the whole set of chemistries and petrology, study of the bedrock units all through the Challis with all the diverse hand samples, etc., is he needed a hot mantle to surge to the base of the continental crust. Tim, hold off. And his main mechanism for doing that is busting through or breaking off or shattering a portion of this ocean plate. If that sounds weird to you, it's going to get worse because he's going to do it again. That's what I said very quickly last time. Hands are going up. Give me 3 more minutes and then we'll involve you. I love your interest. So he's got 2 breaks of the Kula plate. This is probably going away, but for right now, let's just say this is break number 1. Our first break of the Kula plate is, quote unquote, under Montana, maybe even going back to the Dakotas. I'm not really sure. But it explains his first batch of curious magmas that are geographically confined to east of the Idaho Arc. Okay, Tim, you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, from what Jeff told us yesterday.
Yep.
The Adakites, and he was talking about you need melting of
Right.
the plate going under. Well, instead of having a Freddy red, it just works out so you have that plate being broken and it getting blowtorched by that mantle.
So we were all up on Birch Mountain. Thank you, Tim. We were all up on Birch Mountain north of Wenatchee. Hell of a drive to get up there. Amazing views. And we were with Jeff Tepper and his students, and we were looking at Adakites. We were banging on Adakites up at the top of Birch Mountain. And we were talking again with Jeff about the role of Adakites. And Tim is reminding all of us that the Adakites are telling us we have a hot edge of some sort of ocean plate down below. And whether it's a spreading ridge or whether it's a true break without a spreading ridge, you need some kind of surging mantle up through that opening, that gap. And if it hasn't dawned on you, we're leaving the idea of a major gap being a spreading or slab window. We've got a totally different way to make a gap, but it's a gap. And his geochemistry, etc., works with this, including the Adakites. Ryan?
Just so I understand.
Yep.
Are you saying that where that break happens and the mantle's coming up, that's where the curious arc is, where it
I don't want to use the word arc, but it's where the first curious belt is. Do we need our outline? I'm trying to steer our discussion towards our two curious belts, and we're addressing the first curious belt. And if you want details about why that belt in Montana is curious chemically, I don't have it. I'm not even sure Jeff has it. But from Rob Thomas and others who know those magmas in Montana and Wyoming and other places, apparently this works. We're not to the main event because we're going to break again. Guess where we're going to break it a second time? Underneath us. We're going to break it a second time to make the Teanaway volcanics, man. Bing Crosby coming down the old Blewett Road. This is my dream. To take something that everybody knows in Central Washington and plug it into some sort of crazy large narrative involving some amazing tectonics. So let's do it. By the way, why do we have the Idaho slab? I don't expect you to know, but we're going to make this hanging Chad in Florida. We're going to make this slab vertically underneath Idaho pretty soon. Can't hold it. Why do you have an idea of why it broke right here? Kind of the timing of this. Why? I mean, it's convenient to just say it broke, but like, is there anything going on regionally in the Northwest at this time to kind of encourage a break like that? Yeah. We're not really to the aftermath yet of accreting Siletzia. Hell, we haven't even done it yet, right? Siletzia is about ready to kiss the shore. 51, it starts to hit. But Jeff likes an initial break number 1 of this Kula plate as Siletzia is cramping our style. Emma. It's coming. Yeah, it's 51 to 48. So before we lose it, I love it. You keep coming with this energy. Before we lose it, these two breaks are not happening in a vacuum. These two breaks are happening in response to Siletzia approaching and then accreting and deforming and disrupting and choking this subduction zone. If you don't see it now, you're going to see it with what Emma wants to do right now, which is what we're going to do. I now flash forward to the main, overused phrase for me by this point. God, I'm excited. 51.5 to 48. I think the Silver Pass is 51.5 to 51.3. I don't know. One of those gals, not Audrey with the red hat, but another one, is going to work on the Silver Pass volcanics with Jeff this summer. Did you catch her name? She was thin. So there's more coming on the Silver Pass now that we realize that's the initial stages of break number 2. I think most of you are still with me. So how am I going to do this? I'm flashing forward now to this time. Well, what's different? Well, Siletzia is here. In fact, Siletzia is trying to kind of cram itself. It's not just kissing the shore, it's kind of abducting, but it's also kind of burrowing underneath. In the Zoom thing that I hope you'll watch, that I'll post, I don't know, tomorrow or on Saturday, I mentioned to Jeff, I thought Siletzia has been found in the root of the Cascades and even a little bit to the east, like over here. He wasn't sure of that. Because again, we're now talking about this second break. Oh boy. Settle down, boy. Settle down, boy. Bingo! So in the Zoom, I said, Jeff, I'm not flipping you off. Jeff, do you really mean this is the subsurface edge of Siletzia? Because I thought this was the margin of the surface edge and that the subsurface of the green continues down below. He says, I don't know where you got that. I said, well, maybe I made it up, but I think I've talked to a few geologists who have that geophysics. Regardless, this is our friend Silesia, and I'm going to change this now because we've gone further into time. I'll leave this. Of course, our Idaho arc is gone. That's from last time, remember? We're doing the slow motion jumping of the trench. God, most of you are with me every step of this way. This is beautiful. If not, you're faking it real good. We don't have the modern cascades yet. We don't start them until 44. So now I hope it's very clear to you why we might break the downgoing ocean plate again. Like this thing's here. So how do I do it? This is break number 1 to explain central Montana Challis stuff. This is our break number 2. Emma, when did this break happen? 51.5 to 48. Jeff, in his posters, actually calls this the Breakoff belt, including Teanaway, including Silver Pass, including a bunch of our Challis Magmas very close to us. Here we go, new stuff. Some of you are getting tired slightly, I think. These guys are bimodal. There is no intermediate. We're either basalt or we're rhyolite, like the Teanaway, remember? Super low silica, super high silica, nothing in between. So this is a work in progress. Why does this break make only bimodal volcanism? Pilchuck, etc. Bimodal volcanism. But it's happened. Let me finish my thought and then we'll go back to you. So this is our second surging of mantle up through a second break in the Kula plate. This is a model. I don't know how you're feeling right now. What was he doing? They're breaking it twice? Like, how does he know that? Well, he's using his general Challis chemistries, and he's also using the age progression, which we haven't even commented on yet. That's the general story. But then he has these two very specific, curious places within the Challis magma that give us evidence for two separate Breakoff belts. I can't hold it. Let me finish this train of thought. Where's your slab curtain now? What part of this is our slab curtain that now hangs beneath Idaho? Anybody want to be bold? This one. Where's this thing today? It's under Idaho. It's sunk in the last 50 million years. It's sunk to this position. And to get this Idaho slab curtain with a severed top and a severed bottom, you can do it the opposite, I guess, if it's going head first down into the mantle. The two edges of our slab curtain are our two breaks. Final thought, and then we open it up to wherever you want to go. Final thought. Hayden, final thought, and then we'll go to your comments. What I have not shown in here, and I want to, so I'm going to erase this now and do something more general, is I haven't really talked about the rollback yet. All I've done is talked about breaking this thing twice, which to me is a little bit more intuitive. Like we know we need mantle to come up to the surface, and we're having these two kind of bursts of hot mantle coming to the surface to make our two curious belts. This one in Montana and this one that's kind of diagonally cutting across the modern Cascades, including the Teanaway. But why does he need a rollback? Forget the dates now. I just want to give you the general idea. He originally had a subducting plate. We broke it first, greater than 52. And then he sees, I'm not going to draw it, I'm going to just do it with my arm. He sees this, once we break this Kula plate, we have it roll back. We have it, I don't know, what is this? Go limp. Bingo. We have it, what's another way to describe this? Steepen, like a hinge.
It kind of, the end that disconnects kind of sinks in.
Kind of sinks in. But however you want to call it, we'll just go with rollback. I still don't like it totally, but it's the phrase that's in the literature. And if you slabbed rollback, Ryan, a week ago to today, wanted to know what slab rollback was, they were describing this process. Well, to get slab rollback, you need to break the frickin' thing first. But why does he want to roll back? Is anybody knowing what I'm about to do here? It opens the window, but what data does he have that works perfectly with the slab rollback? No. We've got mantle. So again, to me, it's more intuitive to have a break and have mantle come up to the surface. Remember, all these Challis Magmas are the result of mantle coming to the surface. But if we have this swinging arm and mantle flowing up around the front of it, maybe the sides, up there on the front of it, as they lower the drawbridge, we have mantle coming to the surface at different points at different times. So I'll try it verbally now, and then we'll open it up to you guys. No, here. So with your X-ray vision, you're looking down through North America, and my arms are the Kula plate. And to explain why we have, this was the original observation that we were trying to solve, and we're trying to address it right now. Why do we have this frickin' age sweep? 52 to 44, and the answer is, as I take my fingernail tips, I'll just say fingertips, as I look at the position of my fingertips from heaven, you're looking down from heaven, and what's surging to the surface around the front edge of my fingertips? Hot mantle generating hot, dry, Eocene magmas. That's not a subducting spreading ridge. That's not a widening slab gap. That's totally different. An edge of a broken ocean plate that is rolling back, explaining this. And then, we break it a second time to have our 51 to 44, 51 to what? 48. That's the second breakoff belt. So as we're rolling back, we break the thing again to break free our slab curtain that now hangs in Idaho. Head nods. Like good head nods, not head this. What's that? That's not a nod. What's this? Head something. You're not doing that. You're doing this. Even Rhiannon, who's not a major head nodder, is head nodding right now, calling you out, embarrassing you. Sorry to make you feel uncomfortable. Let's open it up. Do you like this? Do you not like it? Hayden loves this tomography stuff. Go ahead, son.
I'm still confused why the slab started to go even farther back. Because rather than just stopping vertical, it kept going back some. That means there's some kind of lateral motion. I don't know.
I don't think he has it. Hayden's trying to visualize the three dimensions of this slab and why it stops where it does. as I continue to try to answer your questions, let's make sure that everyone can see. Well, what's better? Let's try it here first. Let's try these are, this is from Jeff Tepper's poster in 2019, the one I told you about that got me very interested in this topic. So we'll just see if this works. And this adds a little bit more complication. It might make things worse for us with our discussion. It might help us a little bit. He's got Silesia in kind of an odd shape to me, but whatever. He's got a Silesia 52 million years ago. This is the beginning of his rollback. He starts the slab rollback up here. He's got some Challis Magmas in Oregon, known, you may have heard of the Clarno unit of the John Day National Monument, known mostly for fossils, but there's also some volcanic units down there. That's part of their story. And Jeff in the field was telling me, maybe you, that he sees an offset spreading ridge. So he and his friend Ken Clark at UPS were working with different geometries to actually, we know that these spreading ridges have transform fault offsets. And so that even adds another complication, but let's just stick with our major story. By 49, where we're doing the second breakoff, this area becomes wider. This is the second break, and this stuff is surging to the surface. And here we go. We're starting to form our slab curtain hanging vertically beneath Idaho, and we've accreted Silesia by now. You got them in front of you. And we're still haven't started up the cascades, but our slab window is even wider. That's one, by the way. I'll do it again. Look at his triple junction. Oh, shit. Hang on. Sorry, Patrick. He has a triple junction here. Where is that? I'm reading backwards. Is this Southern Oregon? He's got it down to Southern Oregon, a triple junction. What the? And now where are we? Mouth of the Columbia, Washington, Oregon line. And now triple junction, ocean shores, like central Washington coast. So he's clearly a northward migrating triple junction. That's not what Mike Eddy's telling us with the Leavenworth fault and everything else, okay? Finally, and then I promise we'll go back to you. The timing's working out perfectly. These are two diagrams from Ken Clark, who's a graduate of this program back before I was here. Very nice guy and gifted at drawing 3 dimensions. And so these are the Ken Clark blocks. Jeff and Ken are going back and forth, back and forth. How are we going to draw this? How are we going to draw this? I just want to emphasize that Silesia is accreting. They have the Kula, Farallon. So our triple junction is right here. And we have a breakoff at 49 to make the Teanaway volcanics and everything else. But to the south of us, we don't break it off. This is hard for me now to visualize. And then here we actually get our Idaho curtain. It's like a tablecloth being pushed off the edge of the kitchen, the dining room table, until finally there's enough weight on the end of that cloth that it just pulls itself. Slab pull. Maybe the mechanism, the driving mechanism for breaking the thing off, in addition to Silesia cramping our style. That's my best effort to make this work for us. And I tried my best not to jump right to the model three sessions ago, but to just try to warm us up to it and then talk about some data before we finally got to a tectonic explanation. Luke.
So I was wondering, does the angle of the rollback have an effect on the rate of magma?
That's an interesting thought. Luke wonders about, does the angle of the rollback affect how much mantle's flowing up, or maybe even what kind of chemistries we can tie to that? I don't know that. I I don't think there was a huge geochemical difference as we do our sweep. We just had that age sweep. So maybe that's part of the way to answer it. Tim?
I'm trying to fit in the Tianaway basalts.
Tim's trying to fit in the Tianaway basalts.
So what, and I'm looking at the age progression as well.
Okay.
Start out at 52.
52 we start.
44.
Yep.
Kind of like mid-Washington. I don't know how spot on the dashed lines are on the board, but that's what I'm kind of going off of.
Okay.
So like, Tianaway basalts, we're right in at 49.
Correct.
Right? So is that associated with the
Second break.
Okay.
Second break.
So then wouldn't the magmas we're seeing from this rollback then be in more northeastern Washington and progressing? I mean, the geometry seems weird in my head of like where the plate would be underneath Washington. We have the break kind of around somewhere in the middle, allowing for that hot mantle flume or that hot mantle material at the bottom of Washington.
Let me try this way, Tim.
Okay.
So let me try to tell the greatest hits from the last 20 minutes verbally with arms on this map. Maybe it will help, maybe it won't. This Montana's the last time I checked. So before 52 million years ago, we have a continuous subducting, Jeff says Kula plate, diving beneath and making our Idaho arc. This is before our slab curtain, Idaho arc, volcanic arc. We break at 52, or a little bit older than 52, and we have a bunch of Challis Magmas coming up here, older than 52. That break allows our rollback to begin, and we start our age sweep with my fingertips. And then as we're rolling back, remember that rollback starts 52, 51, 50, 40. Now we break the frickin' thing again. We break my hands in half and have a bunch of hot mantle come up through my hand and my wrist, including the Tianaway, bimodal. And then what have we done? We've taken that Kula slab and broken it once, broken it twice, and my hand is therefore now dismembered from the rest of my body. This is a sad story. And this thing's hanging underneath Idaho. And why isn't it still rolling back? Because we've jumped the position of the trench and we begin subduction of the Farallon plate. Now, the tricky part is we're migrating the triple junction through all this, which is almost impossible to get, even after thinking about it multiple times. I'm talking about my own brain now. Rachel.
Does this kind of tie into the, I might butcher her name, but Karin Siglock?
Does this tie into Karin Siglock? Yes and no. It ties into Karin Siglock in the sense that we're finding vertical slabs sinking in the mantle at whatever rate she had, I can't remember. But she was mainly working 100 million years and older. And the implication of that was exotic terrains coming in Baja, BC, and all of that. So as this seismic tomography continues to get fleshed out during the Eocene, younger than 60, I'm pretty sure Karin has not worked. Remember, the deeper you go in the mantle, the older time we're talking about. And so we're up in the upper part of the mantle and Karin's down the lower mantle. But as those data sets become more rich, it can be a continuation of Karin's work. Ryan?
Maybe I missed something pretty fundamental, but what's actually causing the breaks to happen? So I get it's like supposed to be tied in with the accretion of Celestia.
Right.
What actually causes the plate itself to break off?
So Ryan would like a little bit more on why these plates are breaking. He knows it's kind of roughly tied to the accretion of Celestia. This is, man, I've gone full circle, man. I was doing this right before the pandemic. The first live stream I did in my backyard in March of last year, I had crappy internet. I was too far away from the house. I had wireless. I flipped off the muffler boy coming down the street. My mom was unhappy with me. And all of that, I was trying to do this story on a chalkboard out in my backyard where you will be in a few hours. I can reenact the... I don't have your answer, Ryan. One way, I guess, to justify the breaking is the... Oh, God, am I going to say it? Eclogites at the edge of the... Oh, no, I'm not. There's enough subducted slab material already down there that has weight that if we're interrupting things up at the head of the stream, we have more ability to pull and tear down below. I guess. I don't know. There's so much here, man. The geometry of the plate, the geometry of the slab, the geometry of the spreading ridge, and everything's changing through time. Very difficult.
So is it more of like it was a perfect storm type situation? It just had enough stuff going on that it created the possibility?
Let's finish with that, Megan. Thank you. And then if you want to chat afterwards, we can. Megan did a nice job there. She says, well, so is this just kind of a perfect storm? And I think you can say yes, except that we come back to the main theme of the whole class. I don't think hardly any of this would happen if we didn't have this damn large igneous province coming into our map. I just don't think we'd have, think of how much we've talked about in this class that would not have happened if it weren't for that Silesia building and then accreting. And if we go back earlier, if we go back 100 million years ago, we had another one of those large igneous provinces coming in. We probably had the same perfect storm back then, but it's so far back that it's hard to get the details. So what I've tried to do in this class is not only do some storytelling between our 60 and 40 million year time window. We know we've been confined to that more or less. We now know our perfect storm is set up all tied to Silesia, but the work continues. And that's why it's fun to continue to follow Jeff Tepper's work and Mike Eddy's work and Aaron Donaghy's work and others who I haven't met yet. But I'm going to be filming out in the field with all those guys this summer, and we'll just try to keep this going. And maybe 5-10 years from now, I'll be teaching about this, and I'll have, well, I won't have chalkboards. God, back in 2021 when I was using chalkboards, but you get the idea. There'll be new stories based on the new data coming in. Okay, I'm going to see you either Monday at 2 or Thursday at 2, your pick, to take the final exam. And I hope to see most, if not all of you, in my backyard. What did we say? 4:15-ish, 4:30-ish. We'll wait till it feels like we got most everybody, and then we'll pop the cork on that thing. Thank you. I love you. Just call bingo. I guess I love you was the last thing that emanated for bingo. Thank you. We will do some live Q&A and also talk about this summer's plan, but I'm afraid you're going to have to be patient with me. We have paying customers to deal with first. I'll be with you soon enough. Thank you.
So this isn't like class related.
Thank you.
Oh, you can have it. I don't know if you want it.
She's like, I don't want that
I'll
thing.
keep it. Thank
Okay,
you.
cool. I've been trying to get rid of rocks.
All along the outside.
How much do you know, or do you have sources that know about Eocene, Oligocene, up by the Rimrock Lake area? So like just north of that, because I'm doing research with Megan Wetherell,
All right.
and there's some crazy shit going on up
Right.
there. So, and that huge landslide complex, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Sedimentary though, mainly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like
fossils.
crazy evaporites
Yeah.
and shit like that.
I
Manganese
don't.
nodules.
I don't know, but that if you wanted a little bit of backstory, not far away is this basalt of Summit Creek. And that's one of
Okay.
these papers that are co-authored by Jeff Tepper and Mike Eddy.
Okay.
And it's part of this rollback breakoff thing. Oh, it's part of the breakoff thing. It's on that map, yeah. And they may talk a little bit about the country rock that's nearby, but maybe it's a little too early for your story. I
Okay.
don't know about like Wildcat, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know about those
Okay.
beds.
Okay.
That's maybe the next class.
I was trying to think, like, we're trying to figure out if there's hydrothermal activity
Oh,
up
God,
there or like
yeah.
all this shit.
Could be tied to it. I mean,
Yeah.
it depends on, if we're in the neighborhood of our, 48, then we'd still have hydrothermal stuff
Right.
from our Breakoff. But once we get younger than 44, as you well know, then it's a cascade story and not tied to this.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
you. Tim.
I was just kind of noticing kind of a little bit of an age progression. It's like kind of slightly younger, slightly older, older. This is kind of, this is not quite. But I was kind of wondering, is this like we're having a slab tear, is it actually tearing in a direction and we're seeing this kind of age progression of when that mantle can hit the bottom? I don't know.
Good job. Jeff's thinking the same thing, and that's why he's continuing to go out.
Okay.
To get more dates in more places and see if he just doesn't have enough data points to really be confident about a certain age pattern. But yeah, that would ultimately help in the third dimension if you can, almost like a slab gap within the Breakoff belt is kind of what you're saying.
Yeah. Yep.
He doesn't have enough data yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Right
I have
in.
a quick question.
Sure.
So it looks like before 52,
Yeah.
you have like little volcanoes
Right.
coming to the surface.
Yeah.
Is that also happening, or that's the magmas, right?
Yeah. Huh.
Do they look like that? Like, are they forming volcanoes or just kind of little rocks?
Well, they look like about everything you can think of with volcanic eruptions. So they're big caldera explosions with rhyolite. They're little andesite guys, little plugs, little basalt lava flows. Remember, it's all kinds of lavas. So I just picked that instinctively just to show we don't have a big volcanic arc. But
So the first break looks like the second break?
yeah, I meant to do the same thing with the second break. No, you know what? I meant to, but then I wouldn't. Thank you for that. Because as I understand it, the second break is specifically bimodal. So we would either have fluid lavas like the Tianaway or big caldera explosives like Yellowstone. So I would need to make a cute little cartoon with the second break showing either huge explosions or little dribs and drabs of very fluid stuff coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good. That helped me. Thank you.
Yeah. I won't be able to come today, but
That's fine.
just wanted
I
to
understand.
say that I enjoyed your class.
Well, thank you.
And of course, all the treats and just everything. It was great.
Thank you, Roland. I
Yes.
appreciate it,
I'll
Suzanne.
probably see you on Monday.
I'll see you on Monday.
So I guess my question is, why is this the slab curtain you're hanging back? It's the bottom of it is not straight down. It's not parallel. It implies to me that there's some kind of side-to-side motion.
Could be, man. I don't know.
And
I don't know.
I'm just
It's generally vertical. That's why I'm saying vertical, but you're right. There's a little bit of a slant that way.
and it's not going the same way. It's like if it was slanted this way a little bit, I'd understand more because that's the direction of subduction. So it might have retained a little, but it's pushed back.
Well, here's one thought. Remember, that's just one slice. So this is looking just under this black line. Maybe it wouldn't be that same angle if you were imaging in other places. So
Yeah.
maybe an illusion to us that it's not truly dipping to the west like that. But if
Yeah.
it truly is, your guess is as good as mine. Boy, you love that diagram. You're hungry for information, man. We should connect you to Gene Humphreys, University of Oregon.
But also with this, it shows
Go ahead.
this
You're
part
not
of-
done.
No, this part of the slab right here, it's about up in the Tianaway area, and there's considerations of a little bit of the rotation even.
Maybe.
If that might be somewhat related to it, if that's like the dragging back of the slab is
Good idea.
releasing the magmas up there. too.
I can't see it. All I can see is my fingertips this way. I can't, to do the boomerang, I can't do it in my head. Thank you, Hayden. Bryce.
I had a question about, am I just thinking of this wrong, yes? But I thought that, so if we had our Idaho arc about here.
Yeah.
that means our subducting plate is about here, right? Because there's a trench about
Yeah.
100-ish miles. Is there land? I mean, there's land about here, but this isn't all Silesia. So what else filled that in by the time we were moving out to be able to actually have these magmas just come out of not just the ocean?
Well, I guess I'm visualizing
Most of
ocean water on top of an ocean plate coming at us, like the Kula plate. Like the distance between today's Juan de Fuca plate and the coast. Are we communicating?
Well, I'm just
So our land edge is right here when the Idaho arc. This is
Right.
not the Idaho arc, right? This is the Idaho slab. This,
right, but that's the Idaho arc right there, roughly.
right?
Okay,
So here's our
that's
coat. We could have surfed right here.
that's our beach. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, but this isn't all Silesia. This is ocean as of, at
Correct.
that time. So as we jumped back, oh, it's because that's
Well, are you trying to visualize this? Well, I guess I have one issue. Now, I don't know if we're saying the same thing, but didn't we say Silesia added down here and
exactly
it's
that's
going to
what I
rotate
was
it up
thinking
here?
too. I thought it rotated as well. If we're talking that it accreted here,
Okay, Bryce.
because if it accreted down here, wouldn't that mess with possibilities of stuff up here?
Hey, Jeff Tepper, are you taking into account the clockwise rotation that's happened since 50 million years ago? Jeff. Hey.
I'm wondering about that too a little bit, honestly.
If it's lower, and then like where the land fills in, because obviously most of this is Silesia, so I don't know exactly how that would
You
work.
better not see Bryce again. Bryce is going to stare you down at the parking lot next time we see you.
Yeah, right.
It's a great point. It's a great point. I got to think more about it, but I don't know. I'm not presenting it
Are we
wrong,
sure
am I?
that Silesia accreted low? Have the rates of clockwise rotation increased like exponentially? Because we've been tracking for the last couple of decades, but maybe back then it was much slower. So maybe Silesia did accrete more here, maybe not quite up here, but maybe it was here, not down
I don't
here.
think so.
And then it's just been slowly, and now it's moving faster.
If-
With our projected reasoning, Silesia would occasionally, or eventually, would be up here more, right? Because
Yeah.
if plates continue the same pattern,
Right.
obviously.
It's a great point. It didn't occur to me, Bryce. It's really good thinking. And I need to go back and think if my main message about accreting Silesia here and having it up here now, I'm pretty sure that's what Ray Wells is saying. And if he's saying that, then I guess I need to come back to Jeff. I'm obviously teasing him right now, but I wonder if that's a miscalculation in those diagrams.
One other thing, though, I guess you.
Oh, now
told us-
you're a monster.
Well, Silesia didn't do this. It did this, right? It kind of threw itself on because most diagrams show it just coming. We know it's not eastward subduction. This is not straight eastward subduction.
Right.
So if it came out like this, it could still make sense that some of this would be happening.
Yeah, I think everybody's agreeing. Well, let's just assume it's down here, that it's coming in. It's not kissing the shore at the same time. There's like I'm not sure of this, but the
Maybe
southern.
like a heel to like toe.
Yes, heel toe. Wow. What did you eat just a second ago?
I mean, I ate one of those things.
Bear claw. Keep eating the bear claws. You're a new man. It's not heel toe. I flirted with this problem before because I used to teach, remember that the folding in the swak was from the accretion of Silesia, but the folding of the swak I don't think has rotated that much.
Because
So now I'm
that's
caught
too-
with bringing,
that's too much Eastern Washington, right? There isn't
well, it's
even
just too
much.
far north for the impact of again, if we're going back to this thesis, boy, am I off on this?
Well, give me a second here. So are you, do you think that Silesia accretes down south because that's where the hotspot is, right?
Yes.
Well, what if offshore, because the spreading ridge is trending up toward the northeast, right?
And if we believe that
And-
Celestia is on the spreading ridge.
Right, right. So let's just probably on the spreading ridge forms off to the west out in the ocean. So that means further west, the spreading ridge is further south. So theoretically, the hot spot could have been over the spreading ridge where Silesia started forming. The hot spot keeps moving further south, kind of horizontally, while the spreading ridge is coming up. So depending on how the plates are coming, it does like, where is it written that Silesia has to be on the hot spot when it accretes to the shore?
But it also was,
It doesn't. It doesn't.
but it was also building.
Right, but if
to
it's still
40.
on the spreading center, there's some evidence that it's, you know, younger in the middle than it is on the borders, right?
Well,
So
but there's
Are we,
also,
are we, are we gaining did we gain magma from the Yellowstone hotspot and then after 51 then we're gaining or after
You guys
51?
come up there and talk more about that.
I wonder if
I wanna
anyone's
talk to these
considering if
guys.
it's like multiple kind of jumping hotspots. If it's one plume, but it's pushing things around and it creates the continent because it can't just keep.
Let's do some live Q&A.
Well, I guess what we would need to know is,
Thanks for sticking around.
because we know that there's, you know, there's
Uppercase,
magma that's
please.
formed above the ocean, and magma and Silesia that's formed above the ocean. I guess we need to find a way if you could either chemically distinguish the hotspot.
Am I not live here? What's going on?
Right.
They all,
But have that.
Exactly.
well, I thought they read in the paper that they had gone through.
God, I'm glad it's the end of the quarter. I got a frozen chat thing again. I can't see your questions. Hang on.
Then the Yellowstone or the Celestia should be accreting, it should be staying pretty much obviously with.
Okay, uppercase. Thank you.
About hotspots if they're or stationary.
Thurston, do other locations of the world have a hanging slab near a subduction zone? Probably. The very popular, almost viral video by the German guy who talked about a China volcano or something like that. I watched it once. He's amazing. Rowan or something. I was talking about him last summer. He's got that kind of a story. Maybe somebody has the name for that video. But otherwise, you know, I'm just barely learning about this stuff here. Quite often, there's many other examples around the world that I just don't know about. Margaret, if a broken plate keeps curling under, why does this result in younger and younger lavas to the west instead of just more magma total over the whole east to west area? I got to read that again, Margaret. If it keeps rolling under, why does this result in younger and younger lavas to the west instead of just more magma total over the whole east to west? I was trying with the fingertips. It's a question of having hot mantle, Margaret, underneath an ocean slab. And if the mantle's underneath an ocean slab, it's not going to be able to get to the surface. And we know from the chemistry in the Challis Magmas, we need that hot mantle to get up. And so what I was trying to show is that we can't get the hot mantle up here. One way to do it is we break my hand and just make a gap. But another way is to break it once, get some hot mantle to come up, but then as we continue to roll, the hot mantle is coming up here and then here and then here and then here and then here. It's doing the age sweep because we're, you see this hand, which is showing hot mantle coming up, keeps moving this way. I don't know if this is working. That's my best attempt. Kent, doesn't slab rollback involve extension faulting in the crust? Well, we know there's extension faulting during this time, Kent. But is there normal faulting as a result of the slab rollback? That's not intuitive to me. It's more intuitive that you'd have normal faulting right above a slab break, I guess, because I think we're thermally inflating the area, but I just made that part up. I don't really know. Mickey Naki Naki New. Is the west to east and east to west Silesia story all taking place while the Pacific coast moves in north from Mexico, or had that all finished by 50? Thanks for the question. Yeah, I caught myself, I can't remember, earlier this week or last week, I wanted to talk about Baja, BC at the same time as this, and I caught myself and shut myself down because the Baja, BC story of moving stuff from Mexico up to British Columbia is essentially done before we begin this story. They're not happening at the same time. Now, there's obviously some connections to be made between those two stories, but to have them happening at the same time does not work. Thank you for the thought. S. Mueller, does the volume of magma increase as the gap between the broken slabs increases over time? Good question. I doubt we know that. It's 20 years of Jeff Tepper and students visiting outcrops and getting new geochem and new dates and finding that age pattern. But to get to volume of magmas, I think I don't know how you would capture that. So I see why you're thinking that. I don't know if we have the data to back that up. Thurston, do other exotic terrains cause a slab break? You're right, Silesia is an exotic terrain. That's an interesting thought. I guess so. But you may recall that this Silesia accretion is the last one. It's the youngest of our terrains to add. So of course, as we go back in time, we lose the definition necessary to put that together. Jerome, are there any areas of magma flood basalts like the Challis or the CRBs that are currently erupting anywhere else on Earth? So you guys, thanks for the questions, and maybe you are from other places in the world. I don't know, man. I do what I can to keep up on what people are doing here in the Pacific Northwest. And I just don't have enough days left on the planet to have any confidence that I'll learn parallels in Turkey or something. There's plenty here to keep me busy. Let's do, I don't know how far back I am here. Am I going to fix my spelling error on the chalkboard? No, I'm not. Whatever that happens to be. Could I give you Karen's lecture address? Go to YouTube, go in the search box, type in Karen Siglock. You'll find it. I know the kids are in view. It's the last day. You can handle it. Let's go down live here.
You're saying that somewhere off the coast.
How, Mike, how would we date the burps water content? Can it be dated? Well, we're dating the magmas that came up during the two breakoff belts, if that's what you're implying. I don't know why you're talking about water. Ryan, where are the Adakites found in the rollback story? I'm still working on that, Ryan. I don't know how, we were in the field with Jeff yesterday, and I brought it up again as I was filming, and I think at that point, well, it was hot, we're all breathing heavy and everything, we're hiking hard, but I think I got just a taste from Jeff, like, you're asking me about Adakites again, man? How many times do I have to go through this with you? He didn't say that, but I almost got that sense. So I was hoping I'd be able to really nail the significance of the Adakites and how they help with these models. I still don't think I have it. Or maybe nobody does. I'm going backwards now. Is there any idea how deep the break was, Papagino? Maybe. Maybe by, this is the data. And I think there's been other tomography. I assume there's been more seismic tomography data since 2011. This is 2011. This is 10 years ago. But they have depths of this stuff. So maybe based on this sinking rate, they can figure out the depth of the slab gaps, I guess. I meant to show everybody this and I didn't. This is also from that Humphreys paper that's on the 351 page, but I think it does a nice job. Well, here Humphreys has Soletzia on both sides of the Cascades, just cartoonishly. And he also has Challis much further south into Utah and Nevada. So this is possibly the next part of this story. I've just gotten hints here and there that there's a sweep, a Challis-like sweep southward through the Great Basin, but I don't know anything about it. I'll just show you a couple more of my little hand-drawn colored pencil things from a year and a half ago. I was working carefully with the data that Jeff has in his papers and posters, and Mike Eddy as well. And everything in blue here are these plutons that have been studied carefully. So if you live in this area, that's a little bit more detail. I chose not to do it with the class. Here's another version. I was just, same geology, different color. I was just playing with different kinds of maps.
Right, but those are the ones that have been turned.
No, because there's still ones down here and not the rocks up here. I know, but they're.
We're going to have a fight here pretty soon. Donald, have I thought about writing a book about what I have synthesized in Geology 351? Thanks for the suggestion, Donald. Maybe that's how we'll quit. Let me give you a few ideas of what I have in mind. This live streaming has been really fun, and I've learned an incredible amount technologically, how to communicate with a distant audience. I never dreamt that I would be talking to groups of 700 or more. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I had 500 people in an auditorium in downtown, and I was like, I can't believe I had 500 people in that room. Well, you know, some of these live streams, especially last spring, there was like 1,500 people. So because of the popularity of this, I've had plenty of ideas on how to proceed. Specifically, your question, Donald, I have been approached by different publishers to write books. And in one case, when my dad was alive, he was very excited by this. And so, mainly because my dad was very interested in following the progress of me writing a book, I started. And I got my dad's help a little bit. And then at some point I just realized it's not the best use to my time. This is my strength, doing this sort of thing. And I like the spontaneity of it. I like the casualness of it. And writing a book, even though there's an audience for that, in my mind, it would just not be the most efficient use of my time. And it also, it's not very fun. As I got into writing, you know, a few sample chapters and sending it to the publisher, and they're giving me stuff back. I'm like, oh, I like this. And so that's a good segue into what I have in mind this summer. My first message is I'm not stopping. I'm having a great time doing this. I hope it's clear this is not an act. I'm not doing all this to get a promotion or something else. I just do it because I genuinely have fun, whether it's with students or whether it's just you, whether I'm just doing it with you in my backyard. So I get all sorts of good feelings kind of just for me personally, and I also feel like I'm doing something meaningful. So I'm definitely continuing. This summer, I like the idea that I don't have a schedule. So, I mean, I get asked all the time about this time of year, hey, you got summers off, right? You know, see somebody in the grocery store, hey, you work at the college, you got summers off. I bet you're happy right now. And I usually go, yeah, I got the summer off. But if I really want to give somebody an answer, I say, well, I work every day. There is no distinction between my work life and my personal life. This is stuff that I like doing. So in that sense, I'm working every day, like every day. Like every day. So in this case, it's going out and filming folks in the field and publishing videos just when I have the interest and the time, and I combine vacation trips with filming. I'll have my iPhone and my gizmo wherever I go. So it's so the book doesn't sound fun to me. I understand what you're saying. Wouldn't it be nice to get this stuff down like on black and white? And I don't know, maybe there's a way to archive what I'm doing here with videos so that it does feel like I'm preserving it somehow, but that sounds pretentious. So another way to say this is that I fully expect to publish a number of videos over the summer. As soon as next week, I'll have one with Brian Atwater out in the field, which I need to edit and then post. But I don't want to have a set schedule when I do that. I don't want to have premieres. I thought that was kind of dumb. So I'll just subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. It's free. And then you will check in every once in a while to nickzentner.com or my YouTube channel, and you'll find stuff that I've been working on this summer. But working is the wrong word. It's just sharing stuff that I'm thinking about and doing. And it's really fun to do that. So I guess that's my message. Look for a bunch of stuff this summer, but not in any particular order and no theme. Although I think for a while I'll be out with Randy Lewis and Brian Atwater and others, and we'll be talking about Ice Age related stuff.
Bye, Nick.
Goodbye. We'll see you in a couple hours, you guys. Thank you. A toast to you. Here's to you. Sonhai. Here's to our time together, whether that means just the last couple of weeks or this Geology 351 class, or maybe you started with the 101 class of live streams in the wintertime, or maybe that means the exotic terrain live stream series from my home last fall, or maybe that means you caught wind of what I was doing last summer when I was doing Nick on the Fly video reports from the field, or maybe you'll go back to the beginning of the live stream series Nick from Home, all 75 of them that started in March of 2020. That was the beginning of the pandemic. Pretty much the end of the pandemic right here, at least with masks and things like that. We're walking into supermarkets here without masks on because most of us are vaccinated. So here's to you, wherever you jumped in on this geologic river. The river will continue. And a special thanks to all that decided that they want to intersect with us somehow, whether that was sending Vinman's Bakery gifts or, I don't know, sending an email and suggesting a couple of things or making all your comments known down below or in the live chat. This is a dialogue, and much of what you have to say directly guides how I want to proceed in the future. So all of your input is valuable, even though sometimes I'm snarky about it. In general, I have a good sense of what people like and what they don't because of all my repetition in dealing with people. Used to be in the flesh and now virtually. And that's the last thing I'll say. I am still thinking seriously about how I want to go back to doing some sort of public events. So I'll continue with the YouTube channel, but I think I need to do more than that. I want to do more than that. I want to be in person with people. And my current thinking, along the lines of what I just said a few minutes ago, my current thinking is I want to be spontaneous and impulsive and strike while the weather is nice, instead of booking an auditorium 4 months in advance and having this huge buildup. And so I think, I'm not sure, but I think that I'm going to be doing something called pop-up geology, where I somehow announce, maybe on the YouTube channel, or maybe by my email list, or maybe on social media, or maybe all, I don't know. The weather looks good. I'm thinking I'm going to at least try to just find a spot, share the GPS location, Google Maps location, just say, hey, I'm going to set up my chalkboard at this location out in the middle of nowhere at this time on this date, like 2 days from now, and bring a camp chair and we'll have a little party out in the sticks. Seems like it might work. I'll have to pick a spot that can handle a bunch of parked cars and all that, but that's my latest thought. Instead of being real formal and grandiose and having all sorts of formal arrangements with auditoriums and paperwork and film crew and everything else, that's my latest attempt. So we'll see if it works. And so it's approaching 2:30 here Pacific time. I think we'll call it quits. Thank you for everything. I mean that. Thank you for everything. Thank you. I love you. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye from Ellensburg, Washington, USA.